everything of the old world and old existence of humanity itself, literally, will not exist any longer. A new system is coming in place to replace it, all of it. Not just this, that, or the other. Everything is being substituted at different levels and speeds. Welcome to the backfield, sunset time. I wanted to continue yesterday with the wildflowers in the background, talking about cash and the fees that will be assessed to you every single time that you use cash. Like, the new digital system is not about keeping everything in order as much as continually siphoning money from everybody by the millisecond. Because what you have, that, say, one stable coin is $1 in the new money system. Even if you want to move $1 to me, or I want to move $1 to you, there's going to be a fee taken out of that. Remember, the decimal places can go down 12 decimal places deep. So at the very end, maybe they'll scrape 100 off the very end. But for us, it's, 10,000th or 1,000th or 100th of a cent. How they depend to do that. So there's never going to be a time in money any longer where we get to transact for free. That's the whole point. Is think about back in the 1400s. Yeah, you had to pay to the kings and queens and monarchs to use their lands. Go back 1200, 800 AD, whatever it is, any of the trade routes, you had to pay taxes to move your goods up and down these routes, depending on that area of the world it was. Like, there's always been this continuous taxation of everything from thousands of years ago. This system still exists. But what was the ploy of it? Like, early kings and queens understood if they worked their peasants, for a better term, too hard, that they would revolt. So they gave them holidays and they let them continue to produce enough where they might even have some to trade with their neighbors or sell on some, but as long as the kingdom got its share, then everything was fine. Now it seems that we're being turned into a cybernetic digital output machine, or the best term I can put it, for this new phase of money and labor. And it's all revolved around this blockchain technology and everything coming into layers of AI for everything you could possibly need or do, or they have information on you in your life. I saw this really interesting article talking about Oracle. They're compiling all data under one database of each individual on the planet. And they're starting in certain nations where it's easier to do that with all the information. So you'll have one entry in one database on one global search system. Interesting. So the money needs to change at the same time all that's coming in. At the same time, the redundancy or the non-needing of humans is coming in at the same time. Food's getting expensive, but that's kind of a misnomer to say it is. It is on price-wise. The losses are natural, but then a lot of that habitat we used to grow food in abundance has been taken up by, neighborhoods and other such developments. So the agricultural lands are actually getting smaller as well. At the same time, the human population has expanded. So if we take a look at all of it, it's the movement now into, really it is an integration of man and machine future. And the only way to do that would be to digitize it, because the human element of it is usually all physical. But when you get into the machine elements of it, you can do it with ones and zeros. Think about it. Banks, billionaires, and countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's how generational wealth is passed down. Don't wait until the headlines confirm what's already happening behind closed doors. It's time to protect what you've built. Noble Gold's precious metals specialists are standing by to answer your questions and walk you through every step. They make it simple to own investment grade gold or silver that you can put in your hands or into your retirement account. And for a limited time, offer silver bonus. 1 10-ounce silver flag bar plus 1 silver American Eagle proof coin for new qualified accounts, IRA, or cash purchases. That's 2030gold.com. And with half the world moving to a gold-backed currency, you have to wonder what's going to happen in the future. That's 2030gold.com, or click on that link in the description box below. So I wanted to say something about, I had a note myself, World War II. Now another way to change all the system really quick would be like they did in World War II. All the notes we had in Hawaii were Hawaii issued overlay notes, remember? If you haven't collected those as a kid or you see them, they're kind of a brown note. Hawaii, it has actually a Hawaii overlay is the proper name for it. They stamped the word Hawaii on the cash in case Japan invaded Hawaii, that then anything would say that had Hawaii overstamp on it was instantly null and void, zero. So it couldn't be spent. So even if they got to Hawaii and there was $1 trillion there, they could spend zero because it had that mark on it. You can't do that today. There's too much wild money out there, especially the US $100 bills that are more overseas than they are here. So how would you move the new Hawaii money? It would have to be digitally, because then you could, it's programmable money. It's the same thing. It's programmable Hawaii overlay, programmable money, same thing. It works at certain stipulations, but not others. Well, what would bring that system in is the question. How can we get the money system to switch overnight? Now they're trying to pull us into this digital world, and you can see that wherever you look, there's going to be a lot more hoops and hurdles to jump into just to exist in the system. So why is all of this being pushed? Especially these last 5 years, it started with, you're going to do this, you must do this, everybody lined up, and now we're here with digital, you got to do this, you must do this, you have to do this, or you can't. Okay, just substitute the can't on the end. It's the exact same thing, just 5 years later. Using the mind in a very different fashion, but to accomplish the same thing with you have to, you have to, you have to, or you can't. Heard that before. Now the food prices continue to rise as well. Coffee at all-time high, any of the citrus going to high, durum wheat's going to high, just an enormous amount of vegetables are going high in America because there's just not the laborers in California to pick and harvest, plant, that sort of thing, unless it's fully mechanized. Again, getting the human element out of it. So what if we go through this, I would call it sort of a rifting phase, where the old traditional system, the way it does, like let's use California ag for an example, it was always allowed to be for 50 years, so people come in seasonally, everything gets picked, and it moves along the supply chain. That was no problem for 50 years, 60, 70 years, as we built that area up after World War II, again. But now the human element's being completely removed. That is the essential integral element to keep that system moving, because if we don't have the people that were there that understood the process of farming and raising and harvesting and planting and field maintenance and all this, if they don't understand that, there's no food coming. Like, you make a lot of mistakes. Lifelong farmers are always learning. That's the whole thing, is if you've been doing it for 10 or 20 years, second generation, you definitely know your crop out there. So an enormous amount of people are being pushed out of California, but that is a major, major, major food growing area of America. Like I say, we come to that chasm where things suddenly get more expensive. There's going to be a shrinkage of supply. But then again, when we pop out the other edge, it's all going to be AI. Well, because of that, see, we have to switch over to the AI. Now again, when it comes into digitizing your income and availability of food credits and that sort of thing, you'll still have the option, at least in the beginning, to buy seeds, I do believe. And if you don't, you know how to trade with people, right? Like, you get seeds now, Mylar packs that can last multiple years in the right storage conditions, and just rotate those out every year. Either plant them or trade them. It's not about having the seed collection just like putting it in your drawer and holding it for 50 years. It doesn't work like that. You need to rotate it out and trade with others, and it's great because you can learn how to grow. Trade with others also at the same time, so you know who's like in the seed community. That's a cool one to be in. People always getting like heirloom varieties of even up to apples and things. But what will they allow you to buy, not buy? And again, the whole change of it over right now is happening right this second. I just don't like the food supply being fully digitized. I like the idea of using something like VeChain for the documents that fly across the planet that used to have to be in FedEx envelopes delivered, that they can do that now. It's on the blockchain, it's nearly free, and it's almost instantaneous. And we don't have all the paperwork, and we don't have all these planes and all these overnight services just for that one act, I guess, just to keep global trade moving. All these documents needed to be physically in a place. So that's gone. Think about everybody involved in that. That aspect of it's amazing, but having to be on that chain to be tracked and traced, DNA sampled, whatever good it is from start to finish that it matches, that's a little bit, you know, again, bringing in the new system. Why do they need to track everything so correctly? Worked fine for what, 5,000 years until now. Now it's not good enough. Same thing with money. Gold and silver worked for 5,000 years and now it's not good enough. Everything we did, your passports, your driver's license, bills, water utility bills, good enough to get the gold star on the license, but not good enough for, you know, global ID. Now you need your retinal scans, facial scans, all 10 fingerprints, all that other ID. Not good for hundreds of years, not good now. So what is it that everything we've ever known as humanity up to this point is suddenly no longer valid, and it just doesn't, it's not acceptable in the new line that we've crossed over? And also remember 3i Atlas coming in October 2nd and 3rd, close approach to Mars. Now, I don't know what kind of imagery we're going to get from that, but viewing from the Earth, not visible anymore. It's behind the sun. That was the whole thing, like the whole time it comes to perihelion and whatnot. It's going to be behind our viewing because the sun's directly in front of us and it's directly behind. So hopefully something off Earth that's not from the Earth viewing position can take a few images and see what we can get at. Well, I'm curious if there's going to be some planetary interaction with it, because we're told Mars is a dead planet, doesn't have a core, all these things. But again, you know, imagine if it starts an electrical connection from there that's visible, like an ethereal wire, you know, things from folklore and legend and myth that planets connected and planetary lightning and filaments. Maybe those are the dragons, you know, you want to see it. Now, if we were looking at Mars and you saw that thing connect back with some sort of really, you know, incredibly blue rope that was visible, like you could see it as a rope connecting. And I'll leave you with one last question. These cycles come and these cycles go, and you can visibly see around us that everything of the old world and old existence of humanity itself literally will not exist any longer. A new system is coming in place to replace it, all of it. Not just this, that, or the other. Everything is being substituted at different levels and speeds. The entire, what you know as your world, will be substituted into this new system over time. Will it happen in one day? I doubt it. That would scare people and whoosh, they would say, what's happening? But if you do it slowly, first there was a war, the money, we got to issue the digital money. That way, if a country steals it or is using our money, we can just turn it off. That'd be an easier sell, I think. Then how to interact, well, you're going to get a score with a global ID on it and you're going to get a score with that. Okay, that's a hard sell too, at least for Americans. But then in that, if you do something wrong, we can reduce your score. Actually, that programmable money that we're using for the enemies to convince you to get the programmable money, yeah, that same money that we're saying, hey, we could stop the XYZ country from using our money because it's digital and we can just turn it off. Now it's you and your number. Why is there so much compliance being forced upon us? That's the whole thing. Is what we were totally fine out on the, you know, in the fields, wild for an example, but now it seems like they're absolutely trying to just slam you into cattle gates, and me too. Is it because of the rising awareness as our magnetic field's declining and the sun's behaving strangely as well, the whole solar system being affected? But again, will this be on a cycle that was a known cycle of energetic increases? That, because if you had the old system that was vibrating at a certain level and suddenly humanity just jumps up because of magnetic field differences, solar activity, Birkeland currents from one star to another, this arm of the galaxy, I don't care how far you go out. If something changes on a known cycle change, would the rulers and the exact persons in charge right then, would they go, oh, it's changing, nothing we could do, okay, bye-bye. They would try to hold on as long as they could until it absolutely had to snap out. And I do appreciate you watching. Come check out the Civilization Cycle podcast and our Civilization Cycle live show every Thursday night, 10 p.m. to midnight on the Civilization Cycle channel on Rumble. That's where we broadcast from because we can be a little more censorship free over there. I hope you got something out of the video. Take a look at our sponsors, because anything you purchase from them helps keep us bringing you the message just like this. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.